made it to another season, guys. Thank you so much for rocking with us. Of course, you know who this is sitting beside me. Say hello.
Hey, how you doing? It's been great.
So we've had a really good time the last couple of shows, last couple of seasons now, just getting to know you, getting to know us. We, kind of getting to this single thing and navigating it. But first, before we get started, we got to shout out to Hope TV. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of such an amazing network who's been nominated for all of these awards and just doing really big things. We're just grateful and honored and humbled to be a part of it. If you have not checked out the Hope TV, they've got something for everybody.
That's correct.
You just saw a show being taped today.
That's correct. On financial freedom.
Okay, so there's financial shows, there's kids shows, cooking shows, things for business, and of course, at the core of it, inspirational stuff. But, our show is a little bit different because we're a little bit older, but we're still grown. I still think I'm sexy. What about you?
Definitely.
Okay. We're single and over 40, and, we've talked about some of everything, but we're in all these groups on Facebook and on social media, and some of the things that strike me is some of the questions that were asked. So this is, it's kind of like a playful show. It's a fun show, but George comments a lot on social media, and it's just, he can just say 3 words and oh my gosh, it turns into something else. So I just wanted to pull up an account and just talk about some of the things. I mean, because we're grown and sexy, single, over 40, and we're in groups for that age group.
Correct.
Or for people
You would think that.
Well, people actively supposed to be looking for whatever they're looking for. And so, but sometimes the questions just, some of them are thought-provoking, but some of them, can kind of get crazy. So let's just talk about a few of them that I saw. And this one, it wasn't about dating. Sometimes they're not about dating. It's just general questions. But this one says, if a man is at a woman's house and he sees her taking out the trash, should he offer to take it out for her? What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? Well, one of the concepts that I try to use when I'm dating someone is whether or not we're compatible.
Okay.
And if I were to ask, let me go ahead and take care of that, and if that was an issue, then I would know that I've obviously made the wrong decision.
Okay.
Because if I'm at our home, it means I'm already comfortable with her and things of that nature. So taking out the trash is not a big issue. Some other issues could be developing or could be outlier, but if that's an issue to her, as far as me taking out the trash.
Okay, so, and I was wondering about this, and some of the comments said from men that, well, women don't want you to do anything for them. They're so independent. They want to prove that they can do it all. And so the women, some of them were saying, well, yeah, I can take my own trash out. I don't need a man to take the trash out. And then other women were saying, of course, I would let him, you know.
Right.
And that brings me to talk about roles.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are even missing the point. The point is not even actually taking out the trash. The point are bigger issues. If you're saying that taking out the trash is a big issue, what comes after that? Like, what other roles are you actually not willing to have a man take over if taking out the trash is a big issue?
Okay, so I think some of the verbiage that was used, like when you said take over, I know a lot of women would probably cringe at that, thinking that you are trying to bring them back to 1950. And I think that's not the point. The point is, do you know what role you're playing inside your home or in your relationship? Is there defined roles? Are there roles where they blur? What is a male role and what is a female role? I think knowing that initially up front can really solve a lot of issues, because women had to take out their own trash, but if I don't have to, why would I? And I think for some women that becomes a blurred line, saying, well, I can, it's not a big deal if I do. but do you think most men want to play the dominant male role?
Well, I think it's something wrong if they don't. So we'll start with that. We'll start with the fact that me personally, as far as there's just no traditional roles that people play anymore.
Right.
But if you're asking me, can I allow or will I be willing to submit to a woman? The answer would be absolutely not. So we'll start with that. We'll start with the fact that there's just actually just something innately in me that says this is what I need to be and this is the person I need to be. So, if me taking out the trash is an issue, that's going to be other
You
issues.
see that as the beginning of bigger issues.
Yeah. I mean, like, I wouldn't instantly tell you to do things that are innately womanly, whether it be nurturing, whether it be just taking care of things that need to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have to say that to you, just like you shouldn't have to say take out the trash. It's okay, the trash is full, I'll take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be something that shouldn't even be an issue.
Well, let me tell you what I would do. I would take it out of the trash can, but I'm going to set it right there. I'm not even going to say nothing about it, because if you see it right there, you're going to know it's ready. And so, because I'm constantly putting stuff in it, and so when I'm ready for it to be out, I think those are little context clues that shouldn't have to say anything about.
Well, then once again, if I'm at your home and we're comfortable enough where we're at that stage,
Right.
why is that even an issue?
Okay, let's move on. This one says, just because he's taken doesn't mean he's happy. Inbox him and check on him. He might need a side piece.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that goes to some other underlying issues as well. This is some of the things that social media creates. Social media can create issues within a happy, healthy relationship that shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Obviously, everyone wants attention. Some people want attention. If I'm happy, I'm happily married, things of that nature, and I'm just on social media for whatever reason, Facebook, just trying to keep in contact with friends and family.
Yeah.
And then I have all these attractive women contacting me.
Yes.
At some point, I may have an issue with you, and that become an issue because I have all these attractive women trying to actually so-called get at me or contact me. Now,
Whether it's short term,
whether it be
or
short term or
not.
long term. We've had this conversation about some other issue, about some other shows we've had, and the fact that some people need validation. Now, the fact that you already know I'm married, I'm taken, I'm actually committed in a relationship, and you're actually pursuing me, tells me a lot of things about you. So with that being said, me, if I'm happy in my relationship, or if I'm not happy, it's not for you to decide.
Right. Okay. All right, I got another one. If sex can make men marry you, all prostitutes would be married. That's a statement.
Okay.
A man stays where he's well loved, not where he's well sexed.
I totally agree. I mean, like you said, even degenerates on the street that are homeless, someone would have sex with them.
Yeah.
So you all control who have sex with you, and men control who we have relationships with. That's two totally different things. Men can have sex with a woman and not even think about them ever again.
Right.
Whether or not you want to have a continuing relationship and actually something that leads to marriage is something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, again, why social media is actually not actually helping people in the long run. Because, you can get this temporary stimulation, it's called dopamine.
Yeah.
So when you have this temporary stimulation that you have from the fact that someone says you're a beautiful person, you get
Right.
these goosebumps. That doesn't mean that that's everlasting.
Right.
What that means is that right now this person said you're beautiful to him, but whether or not you have a sustainable relationship, that's a different topic.
So this one is one that happened to me.
Okay.
It says, okay, can I pose a question? What do you think about men asking for financial help for something right off the top, and y'all have only been talking for a day or a couple of days at best? It's such a turnoff for me. So let me set this up. So Facebook dating, somebody exchanged numbers, and I have a Google number. So that's what you're going to get. So after about 2 days, I don't even know if it was 2 days. I think it was 2 days. He asked me for $15 to pay his phone bill.
Wow.
And I posted it in the group and had to turn off comments after about 1,000 because
I didn't see that.
You didn't see
Okay.
that? Yeah. And so everybody, well, first people were saying, well, how much did you give him before? And I was like, I ain't gave him nothing. I just started talking to him like 2 days ago. And then people started screenshotting where men were literally asking them for money. It was probably 50, 60 different pictures of women saying, oh yeah, one person asked me to pay his rent, his car's in the shop, all of these things. But this guy literally asked me for $15 to pay his phone bill.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Now, I don't know. I didn't see that post. I didn't see that
How you
situation. But let
missed
me
it.
ask you this. For a man asked for $15, whether it be $15 or $1,500, and the being the person that you are, and we've had this conversation also on another show, it's because they see things in you that they feel like they could actually approach. They see things in you that's not only nurturing, they see things in you that that's vulnerable. First of all, for a man to ask for $15 and you wear $1,500 shoes, it tells me that obviously you're not even compatible for dating. So I don't know what his motives were, but it definitely wasn't dating if he's asking for $15.
Well, I mean, that we hadn't even gotten to any conversation.
No, just straight up.
We're just,
Well,
it wasn't like he knew me or I knew him or anything like that. And so when this person,
$15, okay.
it was $15. It said I need $15 more.
You should have sent him the $15.
That's what somebody said.
Matter of fact, I sent it to him.
They said that you should have done it, and it was actually I had someone come down and shadow me for the week, and it was she just was floored because she'd been married for a long time.
$15.
So she had she saw the message and she was like, what? I mean, she was like, is this what it's like out here? I said, yes.
Well,
and so that was so funny, but I turned off comments because it was just, because people were like, yep, that's how it is. But, for people to imply that I'd given him money before I was like, no, I'd literally just, that's why you go get this Google number.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying. Like when the very first read was what men want, I'm not familiar with a guy that would ask a woman for $15. So I don't really know, what. See, if I was a different person, I would say, what did you do to lead that man on to think that he could ask for $15?
See, that's what people were asking me, like, how much had you given him before? And I said, literally,
Right.
I don't know this man.
Right.
But 99% of the people were like, what? And even guys were like, he ain't got no boys he can ask $15 for. And then somebody made a very valid point. They said he's probably asking everybody because that's a low amount. People
Right.
will probably give you $20, not
Right.
think about it, and you ask enough people, you get whatever the money it is you want.
Okay.
So
Now-
that was just,
now-
I can't believe you missed that one.
No, I haven't seen that, but what I have seen is I've seen women do that. I've seen women ask for gas money for a date and this, that, and other in different social media websites. And I thought that was interesting because if there's 20 guys and you're asking 20 guys for $20 to go out on a date with them, then I guess you probably did whatever you need to accomplish for that week or for that day.
Okay.
But I guess my first question would be is that what will make him approach you asking for $15?
Well, I think, because we initially started talking, or, just exchange numbers over the, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, this and that.
Also, you had his phone number. You exchanged
No,
numbers.
I told you.
Oh,
I gave
okay.
him the Google number. That's how he
okay.
asked me for 15
Oh, okay.
and told me to cash app him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. You missed that part?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay,
did.
well, that's what I said. People get the Google number until, but that's how it happened. But anyway, doing this, had just been texting, and he asked me a general question like when I'm not as interested in someone, I will go ahead and tell them I'm a minister. If I'm somewhat interested in them, I don't tell them that. And so I went on and said, well, I'm a minister. you know, and he's like, I am too.
Oh, okay.
And I said, oh.
Y'all could have prayed for each other to get $15.
I love the journey with the people. I love to not only listen to God's voice as it speaks to me and through me to the congregation, but to also have a reciprocal stream where I am hearing the voice of God as it comes through the congregation back to me. So I love that exchange as we come together in the moment of worship to listen to the voice of the Spirit.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Leave the audience with a little bit of advice as it relates to financial freedom in their lives. What advice would you leave them with?
If you have debt greater than you have savings, then you're eating on borrowed money.
Okay, so let me tell you what happened to me. And I posted it in the group and got so many comments, I had to just turn the comments off. So I had met a guy in this group that's like for single people, and we exchanged numbers, and I have a Google number, full disclosure. I do not give out my real number. Because
Not always.
Not always. And so I gave him my Google number. We exchanged contact information and had literally been texting a day. And one of my, this friend was down shadowing me for the week. And so she was like, oh, you know, because women, you know, we kind of show pictures and this and that. And he had showed me some videos of him speaking. And he sends me this text and says, are you busy? And I said, I'm at a church meeting. And he said, because he needed $15 to pay his phone bill. And I was so outdone, like, that's what y'all doing, asking for $15? So I posted it in the group and got so many other women saying that men are asking them for money. I'm talking about not $15 like this guy was asking me, but more like $500, $2,000. There was somebody just the other day that posted that some man asked her to buy him a riding lawnmower.
Yeah.
And she was, you know, like, well, I'm a little bit gun shy now, but I think
She was going to buy it, though.
well, I think it said that she had bought him some things before, and the gifts just got bigger and grander. But in my case, he started out with $15. So, what are your thoughts on that?
First, my thoughts on that is I don't have any friends like that. So we'll start off with that. But I would say this. There's something that they saw and their instincts saying you're vulnerable. You're someone that they can actually probably manipulate. Mm-hmm. There's something about you that they think within the con game that they think that you're vulnerable and they can actually do that for. So they would start off with the $15. And if they do that, then obviously they can lead you on to more things, more and more and more and more. With that being said, I guess my first question would be is, what do you think that you're giving any kind of signals that say these are the type of men I'm attracting? Because if you're attracting men that's asking for $15 as opposed to $15,000 or $150,000, what is that saying?
I don't know. I mean, because that was my first experience with any male that I've met in my entire life to ask me for money, except for my son.
Right.
But I thought, I don't know, I was just so taken aback by
Yeah.
it. And so I wanted to see what other people were saying and found out that that was very common. And so, but we're moving on. We're moving
And
on.
you know what? And we talked about this before as well. I told you I think that it's harder for a man that actually has himself together, that's not asking for anything,
Right.
that doesn't need anything other than just companionship to date women here currently, because there are certain things that a man is established will tolerate. There's certain things that wouldn't even be an issue.
Right.
Dating won't be an issue, but the fact that you have guys, like I said, that are basically homeless,
Yeah.
financially
I think you had brought that
unstable.
up in another show.
Yeah,
before.
things like that. Those are men that actually will tell you everything that you want to hear, do everything they need to do to get and keep your attention because they don't have anything going for them.
Right.
And so I can't relate to that. What I can say is that that's why you need to not only be careful about how you present yourself, but actually who you actually respond to.
Well, I think that was a lesson for me. Because sometimes I think we had talked about that. I don't know if it was on the show or just somewhere where we were talking about if you don't respond, you get cussed out, and if you do respond, the person thinks you like. So I had been listening to that, and just trying to be what I thought was nice.
Right.
And that's why, like I said, that Google number, but. I just thought that was just so strange because he says, I know we just met. And so some of the comments was like, you went out with this guy? And I was like, no, met in this case, meaning exchanged numbers, not like physically met. Because he wasn't even in North Carolina.
You and I know social media would create a whole scenario based on you saying something. They'll create a whole situation that didn't happen.
Absolutely. Okay, so this one I think is interesting. It says, stay away from people who always consider you expressing how you feel as you arguing or being extra. This is called gaslighting. Toxic individuals do that so they don't have to take accountability for their own behavior. So when does the line blur between expressing how you feel and expressing an emotion to get for manipulation?
Okay, well, we've already talked about this. I know that the majority of women don't really care about how men feel. They don't care about our emotions. We don't care what we think and things of that nature. So anytime that a man actually presents any kind of emotion, any kind of things that he wants to maybe have a conversation with you about, that's considered gaslighting because you really don't, most women don't want to hear what they have to say. Okay. So with that being said, when you actually feel vulnerable enough to have a conversation with someone that you care about and they present themselves in a way where they really don't want to hear what you have to say, then that means that's kind of like basically saying you're not good enough for me to even listen to.
I love the journey with the people. I love to not only listen to God's voice as it speaks to me and through me to the congregation, but to also have a reciprocal stream where I am hearing the voice of God as it comes through the congregation back to me. So I love that exchange as we come together in the moment of worship to listen to the voice of the Spirit.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Leave the audience with a little bit of advice as it relates to financial freedom in their lives, what advice would you leave them with?
If you have debt greater than you have savings, then you're eating on borrowed money.
This one's going to be very interesting. I don't know which group this was in. It says, if we're going on a date and you don't offer to pay for a babysitter and a to-go box meal for my child, we not going. And so the response was, why should the person is responding, why should my baby daddy or I have to come out of our own pocket when you're the one asking me out? The whole date should already be planned out, including all extra fees. So I know that way back in the seasons, you had said that you would be dating somebody in their 30s. The people in their 30s have small children, most of them, unless they had their children really young. But they might have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old that would need a babysitter. So if you're asking a 33, I think that was your formula, 33 to 35-year-old person out, do you feel like you're obligated to take care of her child for the evening?
Okay, the first I'll start off with saying absolutely not. There's a difference between going on a date with someone, 1, 2, 3 dates, and going on and dating someone. That means we have a relationship we're building towards something, and that may happen somewhere down the line. But if I just met you, I'm not paying for not only a date, I may not even pay for parking. So that's not happening. So the mere fact that someone asks that of a person, they have a sense of entitlement that's unreal. And they sound very childish, and they sound very immature, and they sound like I said, demographic that I don't even want any parts of. I'm not even gonna say whatever they are.
We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Okay. So this lady comes on and says, I asked a guy, are you involved with someone?
I've seen
His
that.
response, I have friends. Shaking my head. Not sure why men think it's a good idea to deliberately dodge questions like this, but it's quite annoying and I don't have time for it. Guys, do better.
Okay.
But what I saw in the comments...
It didn't go the way she thought it was going to
Well,
go.
it did not, but people kept saying, but he answered the question.
Yeah, he did.
He said, I have friends.
He did.
But she kept saying that he dodged the question, and I think that was confusing to some because some people were definitely on her side, but the majority of people were saying he answered the question, and then some man tried to clear it up and said, listen, what he's saying is he's not seeing anybody exclusive, but he's seeing the people he want to see.
Well, I'll start off with saying that if he is seeing someone else, first of all, there's no one that can say, I'm claiming him as being my man or my boyfriend. So that's I guess the answer was, are you single? Yes, he is single. And there's no one that can actually claim him. And her answer is, when I actually meet someone, and that's one of the first conversations that they want to try to have with me, I try to deflect it if I'm halfway interested. If I'm not interested, then I'll be flat out and just be very direct and tell them that's none of your business, because it really isn't. At that point that you meet someone, you exchange phone numbers. If I'm single, that means if I say I'm single, then I'm single. If you're saying that you're not trusting what I'm saying, and you're saying I may have someone, this and another, then why are you contacting me? So we got.
So do you feel like you're single until you're married?
You're single until you're in a committed relationship where you and that person agree to you're not seeing anyone else. But for someone to ask you the first conversation, the first date, whether or not you're single, obviously I'm single because that's why I'm having a conversation with you. And the way that he answered that was he was trying to be, in my opinion, to be not as direct, to let her know, yes, there are other options, but now I'm actually seeing you as another option, and whether or not you can actually meet my needs and move it to another level.
Well,
I
she
mean,
was offended, it sounded
well,
like.
I saw her picture. She should have been offended. I mean, I saw her photos. I mean, it's
Next. Okay. This one says, I guess things are changing. Back in the day, it used to be a lot of real pretty women and hardworking men. Now I see a bunch of real pretty men and hardworking women. What happened?
well, I don't know about that. I mean, I've always, what I would say about that is that the fact that
The roles have reversed.
no, I would say that because you all claim to be strong, independent women, stick to that motive until you actually meet a man that actually will actually tell you that that's not going to be the case.
So, let me jump in here. So you meet a strong, independent woman, whatever that definition is. Say
Yeah.
she's successful in her own arena.
that means nothing to me.
Hold on. Can I pose the question? And you know that, or maybe you don't know it. Doesn't matter. And or maybe it wouldn't even get here because you'd already said that you like feminine women. But say you guys are going out and she's offering to pay for dinner. How are you going to respond?
Well, paying for dinner, things like that, is not a masculine trait. Things like that's actually showing that you care about the person you're with. So that's not a masculine trait. A masculine trait would be you're dictating everything as if you were, if that person is not only beneath you, but that you're actually dictating everything that you do. Like I told you before, when I actually go out and I see different couples, whether it be married or not married, and I see that the way that the women move around the club or bar and their husband is following them, that's totally out of order. You ever seen that? Where you see
she's leading
yeah
to the table or
everything
wherever.
everything that they do, she's dictating what's done. That already tells you what type of relationship they have. He's subservient. She's dictating everything, and if those dynamics were to ever change, they would be through.
Okay, now this one, it said wife, but we're going to say girlfriend because we're single. It says, my girlfriend asked me to buy her a $3,000 purse.
Okay.
I told her that was a waste of money. Okay. She said, okay, no problem. Later on that week, I took her out to dinner. I see her pull out the $3,000 purse from my walk-in closet. I asked her where she get the bag from. She said that her work husband got it for her.
Okay.
So do you know what that term actually means? Do y'all know? I mean, I'm sure you've heard what a work husband is, but
Yeah, that's some nonsense that was created by women that actually have a husband at home that they don't respect. Because the respect factor would start with the fact that there's some man even offering to buy you something small, and then it ended up being something big. And just so we're clear, if a person, in my opinion, buys you a $200 purse, much less a $3,000 purse, there is something mutually that y'all have going on, as opposed to not just the purse situation. So, you're already out of line. So, that's something I would entertain.
that one had a whole bunch of comments and opinions and.
Well, it wouldn't be in my opinion, it wouldn't be an opinion. That would be someone that actually bags repacked at the door, and that would be our last conversation we've ever had.
Okay, this one's a good one, I think. I think she's meant to put, I'm really not sure if it's me. But the men in this group seem too scorned. And my problem with it is, how can you say that you're ready for a relationship? I hope you want, hold on, because there's some typos.
I'm
And
sure
my
they are.
problem with it is, how can you say that you're ready for a relationship? I hope you want to be with a nice woman and you are ready, because you seem to be angry all the time. Like we have to pay for somebody else's transgressions. you men are mean on this page. Let me translate this because reading it out loud did not work out. She's saying that the men on this group say they're ready for a relationship, but they seem to be angry and mean and talking down to women. And if that's true, why are you making the next woman pay? And I think that's usually the question they have for women, like don't pay for the last boyfriend, husband, or whatever mistakes. But she's saying that men have been traumatized in relationships as well. And are you guys doing what's necessary to move on to the next one?
Okay. Well, I can't.
That's, I think, a trust issue. Let's go in there.
Yeah. Well, I'll start off with saying I'm definitely not a relationship expert.
Sure.
I'm a dating expert because I have a lot of experience in dating, not in relationships. But if you're saying that this person is in a relationship with you, and you're actually trying to build something, and you're saying they're hurt by previous relationships and previous persons they've dated, that's something that you need to get out from the very beginning. So with that being said, if you're actually still entertaining someone that you think has trauma and hasn't gotten over their past and got over the previous person, you need to make that decision to either A, move on, or help that person. It can't be both. You can't decide to stay in a relationship and then bash him for actually still feeling that way.
Well, I think for women, we are, some of us, clearly, some, want to fix things.
Yeah.
And knowing a person is completely broken and outside of your realm of fixing,
Yeah.
but want to hold on to the hope of him being whole one day, maybe. And I think,
Well, if that's your mission in life, and if that's one of your causes that you plan on pursuing, don't post that on social media. Have that private conversation with that person. Let them know what you're looking to do to help them. Putting things like that on social media is not helping you or your situation, and actually that can backfire because usually she's probably projecting a whole bunch of things she's got going on. Because if
well,
you
I
actually,
think this person was in the group. See, that's another thing. Like if that's why I think a lot of people aren't meeting people within the group, because if something happens, it gets posted back in a group of, I don't even, it's thousands and thousands.
and a lot of it's not even correct. We've had this conversation before as well. You know, people actually manipulate things based on how they want the conversation to go. A lot of people do this for attention.
Yes.
You know,
or
because-
co-signing.
Yeah.
People feel better when they have people on their side.
Well, we also know that women normally don't go against other women. You know?
Well, we have had that
yeah,
conversation.
well, we do.
Okay. All right. Are there any women in this group that can admit that they were the problem in the past relationships? Or is it easy to just cast the blame on the man without any real evaluation of self to see what they could have done better? So this is our final question. So the comments were all over the place. A lot of times people don't want to say, I was part of the problem too.
Right.
There is never just one side of any issue.
Right.
And if you can only see the other side, then that means that you've got some growing up to do. And so there was very few women, and I mean out of literally hundreds, that said, you know, I was to this or I was to that.
Yeah.
Most of them said
typical.
he did this, that, and the third. But I think as we are grown and sexy, single, we're over 40. There's got to be accountability on both sides. And no, you're not perfect. I know a person that will definitely tell me the things that they don't like about me, but if I say anything that I don't like about them, they will literally turn into the Hulk. I mean, like completely start going off. And so, but at this age, you ought to be able to self-reflect. And I'm trying to do that a lot more as I get older and hopefully wiser, so you don't have to repeat the same mistakes again. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that obviously, like I say, dating is already difficult. Social media makes it even more difficult. I think that, you know, as we move on and we tend to grow and we want to say, okay, you know, these are mistakes I've made because now I'm 50-something.
Right.
Can you actually admit fault? And when you meet someone that can't admit that they're ever wrong,
Right.
they can't admit fault, then you need to realize that that either you're going to deal with that or you're not told to deal
Yeah.
with it. If you meet someone that always make excuses, it's always someone else's fault.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm going to leave them where they are.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave them to actually make those adjustments on their own with someone else or with someone else. I'm not going to be the person that actually tries to not only fix your problems. That's something that, you know, counseling maybe it would fix someone in their future, but that's not for me.
Okay, so guys, what we've done today was just give you some examples of what people our age are asking the questions, and they're asking them in groups that have upwards of 50-something thousand
Yeah.
people in them. So you're getting perspectives from all over the place. But I think you trust us enough to see what our perspective is, and we appreciate that. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us week after week. We're going to bring maybe some more of these kind of questions because they really do bring out what people think and the difference of opinion that they have.
Right.
I mean, and some of it is like, you posted that? Like,
I mean, we're supposed to be grown, sex, and single over 40, and some of these are really teenage questions.
right. Or things for just, I don't know, clout chasing or whatever the term is. But what we want to do is give you information you can use, help you through this, because we're in it too. We're right there with you. And funny stuff that happens to us, y'all heard about George and his incident, you know, a couple of shows ago. But we want you to know that we still wanting you to live the best versions of your life. We want you to be grown and sexy, whether you're single, looking for a relationship, in a relationship, you're single until you're married, technically. We want you to know that you can count on us. Thank you so much. Go to the Hope TV, check out some of their other shows. Until next week.
Have a good night.